Candidates for State Senator, District 1. Ken Bennett. Party, Republican. Campaign funding, traditional. Website, www.kenbennettforsenate.com. Biography. Ken Bennett is a successful businessman and financial professional with a long history of public service in Arizona. He's a fifth-generation Arizonan who grew up in Prescott and was CEO of his family business for 20-plus years. Bennett, an Eagle Scout, later served on the Prescott City Council, then in the state Senate for 8 years, the last 4 as Senate President. He was Arizona's 19th Secretary of State from 2009 to 2014, overseeing 12 successful and secure state elections. He was elected again in 2022 to the Senate. Bennett and his wife Jean have 3 children and 4 grandchildren. Statement. Everyone claims to be a conservative who wants to make Arizona and America great again. But while my opponents have been talking about what they hope to do, I've actually been doing the work right here in Yavapai County. Balanced budgets, historic tax cuts, more money for schools and public safety, the nation's best school choice and Second Amendment protections, fighting to secure our borders and end the Biden border crisis, and protecting the unborn and families in need. As a former Secretary of State, now Vice Chair of the Senate Elections Committee, I play a lead role in legislation to improve election security and integrity, increase transparency, and give voters elections they can trust. I fix bills that won't work and pass bills that do, like verifying that the number of eligible voters who cast ballots actually matches the number of ballots counted. I serve because we need effective conservatives in office. I'm running with experienced representatives Selina Bliss and Quang Nguyen, very effective conservatives. I am not a politician looking for my next office. I am a small businessman who loves my community and state. I ask for your vote so I can keep fighting for you. Mark Finchem. Party, Republican. Campaign funding, traditional. Website, votefinchem.com. Biography. After serving 21 years, first as a firefighter, paramedic, then for 18 years as a law enforcement officer, God built me with a heart for service. And in 2014, I was elected to the House of Representatives and served 8 years defending civil rights. My conservative values reputation, supported by a voting record, is evidenced of my fidelity to the constitutions of the United States and Arizona. I am pleased to be A+ rated by the NRA. Statement: I am running for state senate because our borders have been breached. We must hold the executive branch accountable for failure to provide for the well-being of Arizonans. Our southern border is wide open. Our cyber border is regularly attacked. And there is a problem with our courts, a border that has separated the people from justice. Our law enforcement organizations need greater support. Elections belong to the people, not the government. But it seems that many elected officials and government bureaucrats have forgotten that. I've led the effort to audit election records just like we audit financial records. I've spoken up for disenfranchised voters and the rule of law. Consent of the governed goes with the right to inspect the results. I will ensure this right is promoted to the fullest extent possible. Every legal ballot should be counted. Voter rolls must be cleaned up, and those who cheat must face consequences for their acts. I propose legislation to ensure complete transparency of the vote counting process, and to make all documents public records that must be produced on demand by taxpayers. We are facing economic challenges today that will only get worse with the current state and federal administrations. Mike Fogel, Party Democratic, Campaign Funding Participating, website cleanslateazld1.com. Biography. Born 1957 and raised in the Midwest. Grew up in suburban Chicago before attending Lawrence University and earning a BA in History Education, 1979. Earned an MS in Sport Management, 1985. College basketball coach and administrator, 1980 to 1993. High school social studies teacher, basketball coach, and administrator, 1993 to 2019, after moving to Chino Valley, Arizona. Spent 3 years as a principal in Baghdad, Arizona. Spent 2 years in Beijing, China, as a headmaster of a private high school. Retired in 2020. Serve on the Chino Valley Unified School Board and the Polera Health Board. Elected as county chair of the Yavapai Democratic Party in 2023. Statement. I am running for AZ Senate LD1 with the Clean Slate for Democracy to take corruption out of politics and provide a moderate, reasonable voice to the legislature. I am concerned about strengthening democratic institutions and individual freedoms, traditional public schools, voter rights, women's reproductive rights, and creating an economy that works for all citizens. The 4-decade defunding of Arizona's public schools, which has placed it near the bottom in the U.S., must be reversed to achieve the following. A comprehensive solution for P20 education, including increasing access and affordability of pre-K and higher education. More resources going to schools to serve the students most in need, poverty/opportunity weight. Funding that solves the fiscal cliff looming ahead of us when the federal COVID relief funds dry up in 2024. Address the triggers in Prop 123 as well. A long-term fix for the aggregate expenditure limit. A significant investment for special education. Funding for a full-day kindergarten. A solution that raises teacher pay to a competitive level. Vouchers/empowerment scholarship accounts must be rolled back and regulated. Voter suppression laws currently on the books must be repealed, and efforts to place election outcomes in the hands of partisan groups must be stopped. A more progressive tax structure must be created to prevent structural deficits and balance the tax burden more fairly. Stephen Zipperman. Party Republican. Campaign funding traditional. Website http://www.votezipperman.com. Biography. Steve Zipperman, a dedicated America First constitutional conservative, has been teaching the U.S. Constitution, along with his wife Sharon, for 5 years. He firmly believes in the foundational role of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution in America's successes. A former U.S. Army enlistee stationed at Walter Reed, Steve passionately supports veterans. He took a solemn oath to defend the Constitution, a commitment he upholds every day. Steve is a retired small businessman with academic achievements in zoology, business administration, and law, who brings strong negotiation skills and legal acumen to his unwavering dedication to serving we the people and preserving citizens' freedoms. Statement: less government, lower taxes, and fiscal responsibility are the answers to a sound economy and private sector growth. We need to return to what our founding fathers intended when they wrote our Constitution. Our leaders need to return to traditional American values, including morality, honesty, and integrity in government. I am not a professional politician. As a veteran, The Second Amendment is very important to me, so I will never vote for red flag laws. I do not take money from lobbyists because I don't owe any political favors to anyone, and my votes are not for sale. My campaign is funded by donations from people like you. We need a strong border and election reforms, including the elimination of tabulation machines and in-precinct voting. The rule of law is very important to me. Empowerment scholarship accounts are a blessing, and I will work to expand that program if possible. We, the people, are the most important words in the U.S. Constitution. Elected officials must listen to the people who provide the power to government by consent of the governed. Candidates for State Representative, District 1. Selina Bliss. Party, Republican. Campaign funding, traditional. Website, selinabliss.com. Biography. Currently completing my first term in the Arizona State House of Representatives. Have lived in Legislative District 1 since 1971 and am engaged in a variety of political and civic organizations, including the Yavapai County Republican Party, the State and National Federation of Republican Women, the Arizona State Rifle and Pistol Association, the Armed Women of America, and the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office Search and Rescue. I am running for re-election because of a deep respect for our rich history and am dedicated to protecting and strengthening the district I serve in Arizona. Statement. Now finishing my first term in office, I am happy to report I've kept my promises and built a conservative record on the issues that matter most. Working with Representative Quang Nguyen and Senator Ken Bennett, I prioritized efforts to boost our economy and fight inflation, secure our border, and stop the open border crisis, and restore integrity to our election process. I voted to defend our Second Amendment rights, protect life, and look after both our veterans and first responders. I am also using my background as a nurse and educator to advance progress for our schools, universities, and healthcare system. I am fighting to protect your medical freedom rights and to prevent future attempts at government mandates. I've lived in this district since 1971 and have been involved with a variety of political, charitable, and civic organizations, including the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office Search and Rescue. I'm committed to public service and am grateful for the trust you have shown me. You have 2 votes for State House, and I hope I can count on you to cast 1 vote for me so I can return to work alongside Quang Nguyen to keep Arizona great. Thank you. Quang Nguyen, Party Republican. Campaign funding traditional. Website quangforarizona.com. Biography. Quang was rescued from Vietnam by the U.S. military just 1 week before Saigon fell. It took months to be reunited with his family, but Quang's American dream had begun. Working jobs, he taught himself English, graduated high school, then from Long Beach State, before going to work for Northrop Corporation on the F-20 and F-18 programs. In 1993, a wonderful woman, Mai, said yes, and they began their life together. They moved to Arizona in 2004 with their 2 kids. Quang later started his own business, and he was elected to the State House just a few years ago. Statement. I ran for office as a constitutional conservative, and thanks to your votes, I went to the state capitol and kept my word. I continue to champion real election integrity measures. Secure borders. Finish that wall. Criminalizing fentanyl dealers. Low taxes. Medical freedom. Safe neighborhoods. Improved highways and transportation, including upgrades to I-17. Long-term water security, and personal liberty. I have a 100% pro-gun, pro-constitution, pro-life, pro-school choice, and pro-Arizona voting record. I've worked closely with Representative Selina Bliss and Senator Ken Bennett on scores of important bills, and our district is home to one of Arizona's most reliably conservative group of legislators. Yet once again, the powers that be are throwing another primary challenger at us. I say, bring it on, because we're going to keep voting for liberty and what is right, no matter how much money they throw at us. You know me, and you know the love I have for my country, my state, and everyone who calls it home. If you want a proven America First patriot, then I ask for one of your 2 State House votes. On behalf of my wonderful wife and kids, thank you, and may God continue to bless America. J. Ruby, Party Democratic. Campaign funding participating. Website www.cleanslateazld1.com. Biography. I am dedicated to culture serving the community. I grew up in southwestern Pennsylvania, graduated college in Ohio, and lived abroad, studying language and theater in Berlin, Germany, and Holstebro, Denmark. After moving to Prescott, Arizona, 3 decades ago, I founded the Carpetbag Brigade Physical Theater Company and the Tsunami on the Square Performing Arts Festival. As the creative and communications leader of an internationally touring theater company, I facilitated cross-cultural exchanges and global seminars. I led teams to success in complex, demanding environments with tight deadlines and competing priorities. I bring people together through events and stories. Statement: I am an actor and director who is passionate about culture serving community. I am a son of the American Revolution, with deep roots in Pennsylvania. I came to Arizona 3 decades ago as a Rust Belt refugee with Appalachian values. Invest in the community, help others, question authority. My favorite founding father said, "It is the first responsibility of every citizen to question authority." I admired Benjamin Franklin for that quote and for advocating to abolish slavery in our original Constitution. My alma mater, Antioch College, had the motto, "Be ashamed to die until you have won a victory for humanity." Winning victories for humanity and questioning authority are the values that underpin my work in the arts. Where I believe it is necessary to be realistic, ask for the impossible, and gently push people to new possibilities. My performance work inspires productive discussions and creates experiences and forums to engage, build, and sustain community. Our legislature can be improved by learning to function like an ensemble theater with critical thinking and skillful listening. I want to renew the art of dialogue in our legislature and improve our quality of life. I look forward to serving you. Marcia Smith, Party Democratic, Campaign Funding Participating, website cleanslateazld1.com. Biography. I am the youngest of 11 and grew up in Minneapolis in a working-class Catholic neighborhood. I graduated from the University of Minnesota, where I studied economics and Spanish. I joined the Navy after college. After my naval service, I attended Albany Law School. I have represented healthcare providers for over 25 years. My husband and I chose to live in Arizona because of its natural beauty and its commitment to individual liberty. Statement: I am running to represent all residents of our district, not just those who agree with me. We are one community, and we need legislators who will provide solutions to our problems, not ones who seek to divide us. We all agree we need access to affordable health care. Arizona has a shortage of primary care practitioners. In Yavapai County, there is only one primary care physician for about 1,700 residents, many who have high health care needs. Because of the shortage of practitioners, too many of our residents in our district travel long distances for care. We need representatives who can effectively address this shortage so we can access health care when we need it. I understand the issues providers face and what policies can be adopted to help them help us. We can all agree our healthcare system must include mental health care resources to address the opioid overdose crisis and the epidemic of loneliness in our retirement communities. Most of us agree women should have the right to make their own decisions about whether they are willing and able to continue a pregnancy. I support a woman's right to choose and the Arizona Abortion Access Act. Shawn Wildman, Party Republican, campaign funding participating. Website www.wildmanforstatehousedist1.com. Biography. Shawn Dell Wildman's life in Phoenix began in 1981, soon after marrying her high school sweetheart and Arizona native in her home state of Texas. Family connection inspired moving to Yavapai County in 1994, where they continued homeschooling their children. Hold a federal firearms license in support of the Second Amendment, and own/operate Coffeegram, a local print publication. Shawn Dell and her husband celebrate 42 years of marriage and their adult children. They still enjoy working together at Coffeegram, their small business of 20-plus years, providing community support to other small businesses through advertising and print work. Statement: Shawn Dell Wildman was born and raised in Texas. Her enlisted father and hard-working mother's authentic love of country and cherishing of traditional American values formed the framework for her endearment of freedom's special way of life. She grew to understand freedom's way of life has been unyieldingly won for we, her stewards. Shawn Dell attended private and public schools, benefiting from both opportunities. She graduated salutatorian, then launched into college as the first female admitted to an all-male institution, but the urgent need to serve a family member struggling with mental illness became her higher priority. Attaining respectful, effective support for the mentally ill while preserving their constitutional rights remains challenging. Her veteran dad taught Shawn Dell the value of protecting our First Amendment for everyone while she watched her beautiful American flag burning in American streets on the nightly news during the 1960s. He explained the First Amendment protected their right to free speech, as it does ours. Because if free speech is taken from them, soon ours would be taken from us. Our hard-won states' rights are eroding with unabated federal overreach. Let's express honor and gratitude to our veterans. They are family. They are overdue.